a lot of times we think we know love, but it's so hard for us to truly know it because we've avoided it most of our lives because we haven't quite understood what love is because we've made it
that door,
this
because
thing
I'm about
where
to come
it's
through it.
so conditional,
Mm-hmm.
like, to where we truly don't understand what love is.
So what here's the root of it. We don't know if what we call love is real affection or rehearsed. We don't know. Is this real affection or is this a rehearsed reaction?
Yes, finally,
I like that
season
means we're back.
two. Season two. Look, we are here for season two. I don't know about our listeners, but I miss showing up, just meeting here with my brother, the Dr. King. How is it going?
Hey, it's a wonderful life. It's a wonderful life. I'm so excited about everything that's taking place and everything. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the conversation so much.
yeah.
And it's just like, it's exciting to be back and have this opportunity, to share some more.
Yes, look, it's so funny because sometimes you don't even think people are watching it because it was our first season. We had no idea of the response we would get, and people just would come up just randomly and be like, "Where are y'all? When are y'all coming back? What's going on?"
That's the excitement now. Just wanting people to come on and just get involved in it. And more importantly, subscribe to the YouTube because
Yeah,
we're trying to get everything on this YouTube and everything. So trying to get everybody to subscribe to the YouTube and take part in these conversations because they're beneficial to each and every one of us. We're still growing, we're still developing, we're still maturing. So yeah,
yes,
we
please go to Gutter to Grow on our YouTube platform and help us grow, help us touch the lives of other people because ultimately that is why we're showing up,
let's
to touch more lives.
live.
Kingdom work. This
Kingdom
is
work.
kingdom work.
And so I've done, sis, just so everybody know, I have shared it on our Facebook platforms. I
Yes,
shared it on I tag you in it and everything. So that way, if you go onto our Facebook and you see it, make sure you click on it. So that way you can go into the actual YouTube on the YouTube page and please subscribe, please subscribe, because that's the route that we want
please
to go
do.
with this platform. We want to use YouTube.
Yes, please do that. So, look, as we were navigating through last season and just really opening up, sharing our story, ending with a bang with our own
Yes, we
mother
did. Yes,
who
we did. We ended
just
with a bang.
was so inspirational and really her love for God is like what has us here at the place we're at right now. Just her endless prayers. It just made us really think about just life and relationships
Yes.
and not just marital relationships, but just relationships, period. How are our relationships when it comes to just friends or, our church family, our co-workers,
Yes.
our children? Like, how has our upbringing shaped
Impacted. Hmm.
our relationships?
Yes, yes.
And I'm telling you, this just tonight, what we're going to talk about, just,
It's going to be eye opening. It's going to
yes,
be eye
it
opening.
it took me back to just all the relationships that I've encountered just through life and how my upbringing just plays such a huge part in that.
Telling you, when you look back over your life and you understand, you begin to see where certain things in your upbringing had an impact or an influence in all of your relationships. Like you said, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's with your children, whether
Yeah,
it's with your friends, whether it's with your co-workers, you realize how much of an influence your upbringing actually has in those relationships. And
yeah.
it's powerful when you really sit back and look.
Yes. So we're going to dive into that. This first episode is really talking about love or learned behavior.
It's big.
Like it is so huge because is it love or am I acting based upon learned behavior? And you know, and we're going to dive deep into how unmet needs, trauma, and affirmation shape the way we love.
Don't speak, sis.
Oh
Speak.
my gosh, like I'm telling you, I don't know who else wants to grow, but I'm telling you, I'm all about growth.
Uh-huh.
And this is hitting in areas that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to focus on that area.
Come on now.
I'm like, am I acting based upon love? And we're talking about godly love.
Godly love. Uh-huh.
Or am I responding and acting based upon learned behavior? We're look, this season we're gonna really take our time because we're talking about from gutter to growth.
Growth.
We're talking about trying to help people identify where they are, some of those root things that are still just tangled up and trapped, and just you're like, man, I'm trying to dig that up. Like, we want to meet you where you are so we can help you grow. So are you ready to dive into
I'm
this?
I'm ready because you said something. This is that those entanglements are big and we don't understand it. It tells us not to be entangled by a yoke of bondage, and we don't realize how entangled we can find ourselves even in the church.
Yeah.
Because even so much of what we do is not the love of God, it's learned behavior. And we got to come face to face with that and figure out, am I operating in learned behavior or am I operating in the love of God?
Yes.
We got to
So
come face to face with it.
yes, let's talk about this first thing because, we say I love you all the time. People will say it, but when we say love or we're talking about learned behavior, we really want to help people understand what that means before we dive into that. Because when I'm learning, Dr. King, or should I just say bro, so
You can
people
say,
will know
bruh,
what I'm learning is people truly don't understand love because they don't understand the source of love and who is love.
ooh.
So, if
And
you
even,
don't understand who is love, how can you truly love?
and even when you under, and the issue is responding to the source.
Mhm.
Because a lot of us, we know the source and even have a relationship with the source, but we won't respond to the source. It's
Wow.
like our parents raising us and they tell us what to do. They tell us, what we say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And here it is, the source is leading us, but we refuse to acknowledge or obey what the source is saying. So we begin to operate and learn behavior rather than the love that the source comes to offer.
Yes, yes. And a part of that which is very mind blowing to me, just as I'm just navigating things myself, that a lot of times we think we know love, but it's so hard for us to truly know it because we've avoided it most of our lives because we haven't quite understood what love is because we've made it this
Door, because
thing
I'm
where
about to come through it.
so conditional, you know, to where we truly don't understand what love is.
So what here's the root of it. We don't know if what we call love is real affection or rehearsed reaction. We don't know. Is this real affection or is this a rehearsed reaction? And all
Wow.
through this, you're going to hear me refer to what we've heard or what we've seen. That's whether what we've seen in our house, what we've seen on social media, what we've seen on TV, what we've heard through music, social media, on TV. So we don't know, is this real affection or is this a rehearsed reaction? Because real love, I'm telling you, real love is not just learned. It's not something that is just learned. It's something that is lived. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When we look at the love of Christ, it was lived
Yes.
out. He showed us. He showed us, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life. This is Veterans Day and everything. Lay down his life for his friends. So in so many different aspects, love was lived out for us. So so this love that we're talking about, listen to me, you can't Google it. I'm telling you, you can't Google it. You've got to go through it. You've got to live through it. We've learned how to say I love you. And a lot of times, if we're going to tell the truth, we might as well turn the truth. We say I love you in an effort to get what it is that we want or what we feel that we need. So I love you has even become something that's a learned behavior and not something that is really meant in some situations. I'm not saying that's everybody. So we got to find ourselves in this. We have to find ourselves. So saying I love you, we'll say I love you, but we've never shown it. So it's easy to say I love, but you know what I'm saying? We say, Bible says if you show me your if you're talking about faith, but it tells you I'll show you my faith by my works. I'm not just going to tell you I love you. I'm going to show it to you. So, and because we don't understand it, sis, one of the biggest things we do, we confuse attention with affection. Because somebody's giving me attention, that means that they're really into me. They must really love me and we confuse that. And truthfully, we even confuse consistency with control.
Wow.
Because we don't know what love is. So when somebody's showing up for us, like, it's a different generation we living in now. Why you all, that's my role. I'm supposed to be there for you.
Yes. And
you trying to control me. You trying to,
ahead. You getting ahead. So it's so much to unpack. And what we have to do is we have to basically unlearn what we know so that we can grow in the true understanding of what true love means.
What it does is it challenges us to unlearn unhealthy habits.
Wow.
It challenges us to unlearn unhealthy behaviors because everything that we saw and what we heard that we thought was love, it wasn't.
Wow. Let's talk about that because we know that our early experiences, what we seen from our parents and from our caregivers, we know that really shapes how we respond to other people, even now in life. So let's talk about how our childhood experiences kind of shape that, because I'm going to be honest, because of the lack that I felt like I had, it had me, overcompensating.
I'm so glad you said.
Because I'm like, I didn't have this, or my parents didn't do this, or I found myself overcompensating. So let's talk about that.
I'm so glad you said that because I was about to say how each household is different. Each individual is different. And what they perceive to be love is different. And so in your seeing, like, man, I overcompensated because I felt like I wasn't getting this. In my mind, I was like, man, my mama really loved me.
Right.
She's sacrificing. So in my mind, that's what love sacrifice.
Right.
You sacrifice to make, because I saw what was sacrificed. But it's amazing how, this is the truth, how you can live in the same house, grow up in the same environment, but still see love totally different.
Yes.
That's why it's important, though, in the midst of all that, to stay connected to the source.
Yeah.
The source of who, you know what I'm saying? Because all of our love will, man, I saw love like this. Oh man, I saw love like this and so many times. But I will say this, to really get to the gist of what you're saying. The first classroom of love is our upbringing.
Yeah.
The first classroom of love is our those relationships. And I understand that because, you look back and you see, you can see failures and flaws, as a child, you might see failures and flaws in your parents, but even when you become an adult, you start to see failures and flaws in your own parenting as it pertains to how we love our children. So even before you ever dated anybody, you are already being disciplined on how to love by how you were raised. We a lot of times we don't realize this. By the way we were raised, it was saying about the things that we saw and the things that we heard, the way your parents, come on now, the way your parents held you, the way they heard you, the way they whether they ignored you, but that became the blueprint.
Yeah.
That became the blueprint of how you hold. how you hear, handle your situations and circumstances. So it's important.
I think it was our old leaders, Pastor Shaw, Mother Shaw. I'm gonna just give y'all props. So what's
Yeah.
kudos to them? But I think Mother Shaw shared my first encounter with love language was she shared the book with Tony and I years ago because I've always my love language was always doing like acts of
Mm-hmm.
service, always
Service.
doing because that is what my mom did for
That's
us.
what we.
She
That's what
was
we.
always so that is what I my only focus was that love language. But then I got a spouse and I'm like doing and doing and doing, but it's like it's not enough. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, why is that not
Not
enough?
enough.
Because my all I knew was love is doing, like through acts of service. And I'm like, why is there resistance there, not knowing that his upbringing was so different? Like it
Yeah.
was that affection and love and
Come on
all
now.
that. So sometimes people can be warring with each other because they don't even have an understanding of
So
just
so you're telling me. So I want you to think about this now. I'm gonna call you therapist, Kate, now because you just said something so powerful. So are you telling me that it's not so much that people don't love each other that causes the disconnect? It's that they don't know how to.
that's what I'm telling you.
And see that I'm
Yeah.
telling you, if
And
you
it's
are listening
so
to this,
minor but so big.
if you're listening to this and you're with a spouse and you know you love them and you know they love you and you're sitting here saying, we just can't, it's just something, don't know it. Could it be that you have not discovered how to love each other properly? It's not that something's wrong with the relationship. You just haven't taken the time to discover how to love each other. That's big. So you can't ignore when your spouse has a specific love language, you can't ignore that. You
Can't.
can't downplay that because that's the thing that makes them move forward, push forward, you know what I'm saying, and do greater things because they see, okay, my spouse respects, the way that I want to be loved. They respect. I'm telling you, it's big.
And I'm going to be honest to the listeners and tell them that that wasn't easy for me because for years, all I knew was acts of service. So the other way didn't make sense to me. Like I just couldn't process like how is that better than me like working day in, day out, cooking, cleaning, doing, like how is that more important than a hug or a kiss or
Come
holding
on.
hands? Like, but to the person who needs that and that's their love language, it is just as important.
I'm
So
so glad you said that because so many times, like, people think that, that's a woman's love language. She just wants a hug. That's not every woman's love language. That's
no.
not, some men want that hug. Some men want that. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand because, again, our upbringing has a major impact
Yeah.
on how we love. And
Yeah.
so it's important. So I'm so glad you said that because, you talk to many people and sometimes, well, they think when you're a woman, it's just about affection. They want, no, sometimes that's not what it always is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since you brought it up, let's talk about it. It's later, we were going to discuss it later, but you kind of hit on that. So I just think it's necessary to talk about it because, you know, so many people have trauma and they have different issues. And sometimes the question is, can faith and therapy work together
That's good.
to help people navigate through what they're going through? And I think it's so befitting because I'm talking to a pastor, that serves people. So it's just amazing to hear, your perspective on how can faith and therapy work together when it comes to people overcoming, different traumas or whatever they have gone through in life.
I laugh because in my mind, Jesus is one of the biggest counselors there ever was. because he was constantly giving, some words. He was constantly speaking to them about the kingdom and giving them analogies that they could apply to their own life in order to not just make it to heaven, but to also be better people, to love one another, to treat their neighbor right, to do good to those who mistreat you, to take care of those who are less fortunate to you, to love thy neighbor as thyself. When we even talk about the climate that we're in, but when you're sitting here and you're talking about can faith and therapy work together, yes. First off, we need to understand that God is the ultimate healer.
Yes.
He's the ultimate healer, but sometimes he uses tools and trained hands to restore, come on now, what's been broken. So will tell people, you got to look to God, you got to look to God, you got to look to God. And God can be speaking to them, but every now and then, God uses a person. He uses an individual. And I'm one who believes that God has given all of us these unique talents, these unique gifts, these unique abilities. So if he's given them to us, it's important for us to exercise them. So if he's given an individual the ability to be a therapist and to help a person process their way through what they're going through, and you could use scripture, and they use scripture. You got, Chris, and they'll use the process.
What it matters who you go to.
It matters who you go to. It matters who you go to, because here again, I'm not. We're starting and we're trying to create a platform for people who are. But you can go on different podcasts. You can go on different and you will see all kind of craziness when it comes to advice and stuff. But we gotta be mindful of that, because faith gives us the foundation.
Yes.
Faith gives us the foundation, hope and forgiveness. God, it gives us God's perspective on love, but therapy gives us the framework. Yes. Therapy gives us this framework that we can use in order to apply the foundation that God has given us. So it gives us the skills. It gives us the insight. So when it's talking about, the Bible might not tell you, speak specifically about love languages. You know what I'm saying? But somebody will use scripture to create love languages in order to tell that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. It works hand in hand. So people are trying to make it seem, I've heard people shoot down AA. I'm not shooting down AA. You know what I'm saying? That's your support group. Those are those people, because a lot of times we want to say, well, you don't want to continue to harp. No, I'm not going to AA to harp on what I did. I'm going to AA to look at how far I've come. Every time I go there, I can celebrate victory. That's victory for me. So people look at it and say, oh, no. I'm celebrating that now it's been a month. Now it's been 2 months. Now it's been a year. The saints sung the song, it's just another day that the Lord has kept me. That's what I'm celebrating when I go to see my therapist and we have these conversations. So I just say, when faith and therapy work together, you don't just survive your wounds, you thrive in love. So it's important.
And what I was thinking about, therapy sometimes allows you to identify those things that are there that you would necessarily may not have identified. And then once it's kind of like going to the doctor. Our apostle says this all the time. Like he'll say, I don't knock the doctor. Sometimes you have to go to the doctor so you can know the
symptoms.
And then once you know the symptom, then you know what to pray for, what to apply the scripture on.
Come on now.
Because the specialist has
you on point, Apostle. You on point.
What that symptom is. And
yes.
That's how I see with therapy. If you go and you talk to someone and they have identified the pattern, they've identified the root cause, then you can go to the source. Now that it has been identified, so you can speak on that thing, and then the Holy Spirit can then start the uprooting process.
I love that.
So
I love that, because people will have us thinking therapy is a lack of faith, when in actuality it's nothing but faith in action.
Yeah, because now because now I'm going to tell you, God works differently. So you have to seek God and say, how do you want me to navigate this? Because not all things require a physician, a doctor. He may just say, speak this, and then you be healed. But then he may say, no, I need you to go and get some more clarity, some more insight on the matter, so then we can fully know how to speak, how to apply that faith. So, so that is where we are. To me, a therapist is like a doctor. If you need information, you go get that information, but you don't leave it there. then you know what to you know what to speak and how to apply God's
Just
word to that.
quickly, because I know you got to move it quickly. Could it be that in the midst of Saul being knocked off of that beast,
Mm.
he began to have some mental issues because he had lost his sight. He understood what, but it's like, man, I was able to. Can you understand how depressing that can be? But God tells him, listen, I got a therapist for you. I
Mm.
got this man named Ananias who on over there on Straight Street. I need you to go to Ananias and he gonna talk to you about some
Yes,
things that need to be done.
yes,
Come on now.
yes, yes,
So God, in essence, he does what? He used people. Who was it? Cornelius,
yes,
who was sitting here praying. He was loving on God and trying to figure some things out. And God speaks to him and Peter and say, you know what, Pete, I need you to go to Cornelius' house. He trying to lead. He trying to lead his family to me, but you got the word. I've given you what he needs. So I need you to go to Cornelius' house. I need you to counsel him. I need you.
yes, 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 yes. I love it. I love it. And I wanted to hit on that because that is so important for people to hear, And once again, we're gonna end with it does matter who you
It
go
doesn't
to.
matter. It
I don't
matters.
want
It
to
matters who
miss
you
that.
go to now. It
Matters who
matters.
you go to. Yes. So let's talk about this because man, this is so crazy. We want to talk about what happens when a person's idea of love was modeled by or through dysfunction or trauma.
Even when they don't know it. Let's throw that disclaimer out there too. Because some people don't even know that their model of love is through dysfunction and trauma. They don't even know it because they won't acknowledge it.
Because sometimes, bro, when you grow up in chaos, sometimes, and you know it because you've been in the school system and
Mhm.
you dealt
Yeah,
with, just had to deal with parents and students. And sometimes you're almost just baffled by just the fact that families don't know that they're functioning in chaos
they
and
normalize it.
chaotic behavior, like day in, day out, like you said, is their norm.
It's their norm.
And, and we've seen it, like where people are like, if we ain't fighting, we ain't loving.
We don't
Like,
look. Yeah, if you don't hit me, you don't love me. Yeah. They normalize it. It's like a person. It's like trying to tell a person smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and you sit here telling a man you gonna get lung cancer, and they like, nah, this is my norm. I
right.
do this all the time, and they ignore the cough. They ignore the cough. So yeah,
And with that type of behavior, it's all about trying to earn somebody's love. Like, I see it all the time where, and you see it too. And we're not knocking people who do this because, I love nice things and fine things. But sometimes because of dysfunction, people equate love with what are you giving me?
mm-hmm. Oh,
So then
most
it
definitely.
becomes this tap dancing thing where your love for somebody is based on a performance. What can I give? How are you gonna make me look to people? Like, like it's all about performance
The
and
glitz and the
not
glamour,
really just really receiving the love because that person just genuinely loves you.
and so that's what's on display. And that's why we have to mature in our minds, but also in our spirits, because that's what's constantly on display. That's what's selling. Those things, and you look at social media, it's always some type of skit, it's always some type of movie, it's always some type of song that's about the glitz and the glamour and me doing what I need to do in dysfunction and trauma. I'm operating in dysfunction and trauma, but that's my way of getting the love that I feel that I need, and I don't even realize that that's what it is. So what happens is we start calling chaos chemistry. It's a chaotic situation. Come on now. But we got chemistry. We'll start somebody who is overbearing and just controlling to the point that like they make me stand in a corner. Oh, they care about me. And we don't even realize that this person we're operating in dysfunction and we're operating in trauma. So you begin to think that, being broken together is the same as being bonded together. We're broken. We're wonderful because you're broken, and nobody understands that. Hey, this broken piece, you were the person who was supposed to make sure that this piece fit together. But what y'all do is you constantly, just because of dysfunction and the trauma, you're constantly breaking each other. So survival, you are always in survival mode. There's never any stability to your life. Your life is never stable. It's never calm. You know what I'm saying? And you're always in survival mode. So it's when you're looking at this dysfunction and trauma, it's big, because when all you've seen is pain dressed up as passion, so it messes you up. It messes you up. I mean, think about that. Pain dressed up as passion. This person is in pain, but they'll have it. But they don't know it, because that's all they know. That's all they know. You know what I'm saying? And so we said, if you sit here and you're telling somebody, if you're listening and you're like, they just hit me, no, they just disrespected me. They're just calling me out my name. Eventually, it's going to lead to them putting their hands on you. Yeah. And I'm telling you, I've done anger management class. That's not just men. There's some women who are, I'm telling you, they'll tell a man to go and get in the corner, and he goes. So a lot of people think, no, it's just not. We have to understand what we're really dealing with. So God, I mean, so it's crazy. We got to detox. I'm telling you, when it comes to this, we got to detox ourselves.
And you have to, because that goes into what we want to talk about next. When you don't detox yourself, what you end up doing is creating a cycle of unhealthy relationships. Whether that's with just your friends, your friend group, or co-workers, or like you're just constantly creating a cycle of unhealthy relationships because you haven't broken.
Hold on, you talking about my friends? We made mud pies together. They defended me in the first grade. They kept the bully from beating me up. They stopped people from picking at me. But here's the thing. They stop people from beating you up physically, but they beat you up mentally and emotionally on a day-to-day basis, and you ignore that because you call them friends. They put their mouth on you constantly, but you ignore that because when somebody else says something about you, they defended you.
Yeah.
And we don't understand, so we keep repeating what's familiar, even when it's fatal. We'll keep repeating it.
Because it's safe. People
That's, oh God,
in pain.
I know what they expect.
Yeah,
I know the outcome.
It's painful.
I know how I feel, but I know it's just gonna hurt this much, so I'll take this lick. It's just gonna hurt this much, so I'll take this verbal assault. Wow. Oh my God, oh my God. So you're telling me that I start to make my pain feel like home. I started to make it feel natural. I begin to normalize it. That's why you can lead a person but still carry the pattern. Somebody hear that? That's why you can lead a person. We're sitting here and we'll say, oh, so-and-so hurt me. So-and-so disappointed me. My friends, they were no good. But you have to make sure you get yourself together, because if not, you will leave that person. You will leave those relationships. You will leave that circle of friends, but you will keep the same pattern. You will take it to the next person, and it don't work. And you're trying. It's because you got to get rid of the pattern.
You have to.
You got to heal.
You have to.
My sister, my brother, you listening today, I'm telling you, you got to heal, because if not, you keep repeating the same pattern. When you say stuff like, I'm not going to let you do to me what they did, and they're trying, like, what are you talking? I'm trying to help you. Yes. When God sends somebody to help heal you, you got to let them heal you, because if not, you know what I'm saying, you're going to hurt them. It's not so much them hurting you as you hurting them. So this takes a renewed mind.
It does. Oh my God. And you know what I'm learning, because we can say it and say it, but oh my God, the strength that comes into play with renewing your mind, because you have to constantly cast down your old thought process. And that takes work. That takes discipline.
You just
Nobody really wants to put in that effort of discipline, but it does.
You said something. You talking about casting those thoughts or those vain imaginations, and when that came to my mind, you say those thoughts, I began to think about those imaginations, and I thought about an image. And what happens with those images is we start attracting reflections of ourselves. And we don't even know it because we haven't cast down those vain. We're only attracting what we see. You're attracting the very image, and you'll point the finger and blame it at somebody else. But no, it's you. It's you. It's you. We're trying to fix everybody else, not realizing we're broken.
Which leads to
Oh yeah, you know I start coming with these. I like these. Oh, you get my mind going, sis. You get my mind going 100 miles an hour.
I'm
Your mind get to going.
I'm trying to keep myself together because it's so powerful, and it's just when I say that it's so much growth for myself,
So,
like that is what's going on with me. Like when I'm leaning in, I'm like, whoo,
this helps us. See, people don't understand. A lot of times people don't want to have these conversations.
yes.
In order to be a better version of who God created you to be, in order to be the best version you can be, you have to have conflict. I always say this, without conflict or confrontation, there can be no resolution. You have to confront who you are so you can become who you're supposed to be. And people don't like doing that. They don't want to have conversations like this. Because what I'm saying, I'm not just saying this to say to you, it's making me let a man examine himself. It's making me examine myself. How I got to be a better person for my wife, my kids, my family, my co-workers, my community, man, the church. When I say family, I'm not just talking. I'm talking about the church too. That's my family. I got to be. So I have to confront. I got to deal with this stuff because if not, they're going to continue to get a version of me that hasn't grown, a version of me that hasn't healed, a version of me that hasn't matured. That's why we do what we do.
What we do. Because let me tell you something, this next part is just we want to focus on when we're talking about relationships, and this is so key that people, even if you're not in a relationship or even if you are in a relationship, when you are showing up in your relationship, are you showing up as a whole person with wholeness, or are you showing up as a person that is in need, like you are unsure of yourself,
even validation,
you don't know who you are in Christ? Like, how are you showing up in a relationship? Because when you show up certain ways, especially when you show up out of need, I mean, so many things take place because when you show up out of need, that means I'm showing up to the next person because I'm dependent upon them to provide a need that I feel like I lack. And then what's going to happen in that relationship when I think you're giving away what I need to somebody else and I need it? Jealousy is going to come, insecurity is going to come. Like so many
you preach,
things
you preach.
come when you bring yourself to a relationship out of need instead of bringing yourself as a whole person with full wholeness.
If you're constantly seeking validation,
Mm,
you didn't come whole.
yeah.
You didn't come whole. I'm not telling you that your spouse, your friend, somebody shouldn't no. I'm not. But if that's what you're constantly seeking, you're looking for people to make you whole.
Yeah.
You're looking for people to approve or to co-sign on you. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna go into what you were saying because this reminds me of something I heard from Pastor T.D. Jakes, which was so powerful, sis. Pastor T.D. Jakes was talking, and he was talking about how people mess up their relationships, and he said you will have 80% of everything you want and everything you desire, but you'll look over and you'll see the 20 that you don't have, and the 20 looks so good, and you will sacrifice that 80 for that 20. You'll get that 20 only to realize you've lost most of everything you ever had because you got so consumed with wanting that 20. Now I'm going to say this right here, and I'm going here, and I need y'all to hear this because this might be tweetable, this might be Instagrammable, this might be Facebookable. I don't even know. I'm just throwing it out there. But the problem that we have, sis, in so many relationships is that people come into relationships not looking for somebody to be a blessing. They come looking for somebody to be a Band-Aid.
Way.
They don't come looking for people to be a partner, sis. They looking for somebody to be a patch. But remember, that's what they had, them patches that they would patch the tire. They just need somebody to help them go just a little further.
Wow.
And then their true self comes right back out because they're not whole. They're still operating. If you're not whole, that means you're what? You're a piece. And we know if you're a piece, that means you're broken. And we know broken pieces. Come on now. So that's why it's important that you understand the importance of you become whole, because that's the only way those broken pieces can become a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But if not, what do we know about broken pieces? Broken pieces, if you got broken glass, if you got a whole glass, it can't hurt you. But if you got broken pieces, it can cut you.
Slice you up.
So that's the importance of being whole. You got to know when you're broken, when you're not looking. You got some. God, oh God, oh God. People. I mean, it's like some people love to be wounded. I don't know. Instead of seeking love, they're just looking for somebody to rescue.
Can I go back to something that you said?
Okay, Bill, sis, because you know I'm talking. I'm just talking.
I'm not even gonna take credit for it. It just happened to fit perfectly in what you said about the 80-20. The issue is my spouse was never meant to be my 100. Never. Never is the one that brings complete wholeness. And that is the issue, that we're wanting people to be our 100. Because if my spouse was my 100, why would I even need God? I wouldn't need him. So we're looking for people to fill voids and fill
come on.
in us that never was their place anyway.
It's not their place.
That was the place for God, for the Holy Spirit. So if you're going through that, and I hear people say it all the time, I want to get a divorce because I'm not happy. Not because of what the Bible says, why you should get a divorce, but because I'm not happy. You got to ask yourself, what am I requiring from my spouse that was supposed to be destined and designed to be filled up by the Spirit of God and not by man? So I just had to throw that in there because
because we'll do that.
That's the issue.
We'll do that. So because I'm sitting here and you just made me think of something even more, because it is God who gives the increase. That's the thing we have to understand. If you're not where you want to be, okay, God, I need this increase because this, and I'm telling you, the issue is he tells us what to do, but we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
We don't want to be honest. It's not that you're not happy. I'm going to go out and say most of the time, it's not that you're not happy. It's your ego. Wow. It's not that you're not happy, it's your pride. Because what God is telling you to do, you don't want to do it. And if you did it, you would unlock so much potential in your spouse to be released. But because you don't want to do it, because you want your pride, your ego, you worried about, you know what I'm saying? You worried about all these things rather than what you need to do. And what happens is you're expecting him to pour into you what he hasn't even been equipped to do. You're expecting her to pour into you what she hasn't even been equipped to do. So here it is. You're looking for somebody to give you a gallon worth of love, but they only got a half gallon worth. That's their capacity. They're built to that capacity because they got so many other, but this is all you, and you get mad. Okay, you can't find you and everything. I do this, I do that, I do this, I do this. And the only thing you can find love isn't in this. And because you're not happy in this area, it's my fault.
Wow, bro.
We got to check. I'm telling you, this stuff is to make us check ourselves.
It is so much, because we've all felt feelings.
That's a part of life.
We'd be lying if we said it was a point where we looked and I looked at Tony and was like, boy, I just can't stand you. Like, we all have had feelings. And baby, I know he done looked at me and said,
Lord, did you really tell me?
Like, I know he's looked at me and said, Lord, what in the world? Like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do with this woman? Like, we all go through feelings and emotions, But love is not ruled or based upon our emotional instability,
Come on
because
now,
that's what it is.
because that's what it is.
Feelings are unstable.
Feelings are unstable, so unstable.
So, but godly love, when we take hold of godly love, we understand how stable it is. And even when we may feel a certain type of way about whoever, our spouse, our children, we're able to see them through a different lens.
Lens. Because I'm telling you, what Bible tells, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Your feelings will keep you double-minded. Today you all that in the bag of chips, and tomorrow I can't stand you. And where's that? I woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah. And I was sure this earlier in my marriage, because we grew up dirt poor. We grew up poor. So early in my marriage, I remember my husband, he would tell me, I know when we're low on money because your attitude, like you just get, like you just, and I'm like, I had to examine that thing. Like, am I on edge if I feel like certain things are not there, or if I feel like
Too
there's a
funny.
lack, or if I feel like, because let's be honest, so many relationships are damaged or dismantled because of hardships,
Tip.
whether it's, finances or whatever, like
That's
because
one of the major causes.
of the feelings in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
How that lack makes you feel in the moment can just, destroy
It
things. So
can.
you have to be so careful about those emotions.
Those emotions are big. Man, I know Asia sometimes would be like, this joke had like we just broke. Like he tight with everything. Cause hey, I know what it is to be broke. I mean, yeah. Just I'm gonna say that I'm gonna spin. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna spin. So it's like I'm like, I would tell you this so you can move on. It was funny. Naya said one time we went on a little vacation, and Naya she said, you know how I knew that the money situation changed? I was like, how? She said, because we would go somewhere, you would be like, this is how much we got to spend. We were down there for a week. This is how much we got to spend. This is how much we got to eat with. Okay, on this day we go do this. Then you gonna have a pool day. You know, a pool day that's free. You ain't you go. But she say I knew it changed because you stop saying anything about money. It just whatever y'all want to do. Whatever y'all want to do. Even though I was still counting them back. I was still counting the pennies. Hey, yeah, he's still counting. He's still counting. You know, I'm counting the pennies, boy. Man.
This piece, bro, I think is so good to talk about because unhealed trauma will show up in so many forms of our relationship. It'll show up in our marriage, it'll show up in our parenting, it'll show up in our friendships. And sometimes you're trying to understand and navigate through these relationships, and you don't really understand that your unhealed trauma is having a huge effect on your relationships that you're forming. One thing that stands out that's huge is emotional shutdown. We see that all the time. I mean, it's just people do not know how to navigate through emotions because they've learned that, well, we learned it too, that you can't express yourself,
Can't express
whether
it.
it's in a
What happens
respectful
in this house stays in
manner
this house.
or, what happens in this house stays in this house. So what you create is adult beings who don't even know how to navigate through emotion. So it comes through shutting down or it comes through drastic outbursts. Like, let's talk about it comes through controlling, being this controlling
This is
person.
good. This is good.
It comes through insecurities, like, not
Not
trusting
trusting.
anybody. So it's like you have to ask yourself, when you have certain actions when it comes to the relationships that
Good.
you're surrounded by, like, is your response or is the way you're handling those relationships through due to unhealed trauma?
So she said something. You said the key word of what you said is unhealed.
Mm.
So unhealed means it doesn't disappear. It doesn't go anywhere. It just disguises itself. It'll put on Gucci. It'll
Yeah.
put on Versace. It get a haircut, get a hair done. You know what I'm saying? Put on the nice perfume, nice cologne, but it's still there.
Yes.
It's still there. It's just disguised. It's just hidden. And that's what happens. We don't realize it. And every opportunity it gets, it'll rear its ugly head. So we have to understand. That's the first thing we have to understand. Unhealed, that means it's still there. It's just disguised. And we got to understand that we will dress up dysfunction and call it destiny.
Wow.
I'm telling you, because we unhealed. We think because we arrive, we get to a certain point. Oh, I've arrived. But you still haven't dealt with that little boy, that little girl. You got to deal with that little boy, that little girl, because if not, they're gonna don't let the traumas or the trauma of your childhood become the traumas of your adulthood, because those traumas grow with you and they could end up becoming something that becomes unbearable for you to handle. So even in marriage, that unhealed part of you doesn't doesn't want a spouse, it wants to save you.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
about it. You unhealed. You're looking for it. You start expecting your partner to heal wounds they didn't even create. That's what happens. You start because and think about it. Since we're talking about things falling apart and why they do, it's because you have an expectation of somebody to do something for you that you are supposed to do on your own. Because if you don't,
And you said it. I was gonna say whose choice? Whose responsibility?
yours. It's not saying that's the thing that happens. I'm supposed to help you, but I can't heal you. I can't. If we can heal people, we'd be healing everybody.
Yeah.
That's a God thing.
You get a healing. You
You
get a
get it,
healing.
you know what I'm saying? But I can't. You have
And
to
we
be.
have to allow him to
Yeah,
do it. It just made me think about, I was just talking to a group of people last week, and I'm like, Lord, what do you want me to say to these group of people? Like, because I don't want to say anything that these are your people, these are not my people. What you want me to say? And he gave me one word, bro. One: decisions. Decisions.
choice is yours.
The choice is yours. And then he said, your decisions can affect everybody around you.
Everybody around you.
Your decisions. Like, but you have the choice.
Oh my God.
You can make the decision. You can make the choice to not hold on to unforgiveness, because
Right.
that's what I was talking to them about. And bro, I'm just so amazed how so many people feel like they cannot release it. They're like, I just can't release it. I can't heal from this. I can't. And I said, no, are you hearing me? It's your decision. You can make the choice to heal. You can make the choice to forgive, because it's not about the other person. If I'm saying I love my children, why would I hold on to unforgiveness and bring that same cycle into the life of the same human beings that I say I love? If
Love.
I said I love my husband, why would I stay in the same cycle and bring that same type of energy, same type of negativity to the spouse that I say I
But I
love?
say I love.
I can make the choice.
You got the choice. People don't understand that you were talking. And I'm thinking, Halloween just went by, and when you think about Halloween, you think about ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they say ghosts usually do? They say they haunt you, right?
Yeah.
That's what unforgiveness does. It haunts you. It keeps showing up like you think, okay, I got rid of this. You see movies like they think they got rid of the ghost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden it comes back and it's haunting. That's what unforgiveness does, family. It haunts you. And if you're not careful, like you said, sis, it not only haunts you, but now it turns into something that haunts your children. because you raised them in unforgiveness. You raised them that your mama ain't no good, your daddy ain't nothing. You're stupid, you're dumb. This because it was done to you. You poured that same thing into them, and so now, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna haunt their kids with the same thing that you that was put on you by your parents. Now that was put on them. Now they're gonna put it on today. So you create this cycle. You would create. We have to understand. We talk about generational curses, but we don't want to be the cause of them. You do not want to be the cause of a generational curse because you refuse to heal. You got to heal, and some of us don't understand that. We still got. You said one time a while ago, since we were talking. I don't even remember. It was the last season of me and you just talking, but you talked about offense. I ended up preaching a message about this sometime later, but you talked about offense and how people are so easily offended. It was something you were just talking about the spirit of offense. So you were talking about the spirit of offense, and we don't understand. What we have to understand is when we don't allow ourselves to heal, we become an offense to so many people. Why? Because we're always on defense. We become so defensive that we become enough to so many people. So you have to allow yourself to be healed because what you said was rude. It wasn't nice. It was rude. It was disrespectful. It was distasteful, but you said it out of your hurt because what was said to you reminded you of how you've been treated. So now you're regurgitating of how you defended yourself. And now you become an offense. We don't realize what's taking place. That's why you got to get to the root cause of what you are dealing with. You said what you said because you haven't healed.
Yes.
You did what you did because you haven't healed. It's
And
important.
you talked about those not wanting to be the cause of those, generational curses. Like, let's talk about that piece. How do we not be the cause? How do we break this cycle of just, trauma? How do we show our children what love is, like true love? How do we truly do that?
Sis, Bible tells us to train up a child in the way they should go. The only thing that I can think is telling the truth.
Mm.
I'm one, if I'm wrong, I can respect how you feel. I talk about it. This is how I feel. This is where I'm at. But I'm not one of those ones going to tell you how I feel and not why. I need you to understand why I feel the way that I feel. Sometimes I have to come back and apologize.
Right.
People who would say, they're a child. I'm apologizing. Because I want them to know if I was wrong, when you wrong, you need to be man or woman enough to admit it. If you said something in a distasteful way, because sometimes all of us, we get caught up in our feelings and our emotions. You say something in a distasteful way, you got to be man and woman enough, because guess what? That's how I want my kids to be. If you rude, I need you to, you know what, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So, I apologize. I should have never, my parents did not raise me like that to be that disrespectful. Please accept my. So I say that to say we have to be honest, because what tends to happen is when situations like this happen, we'll overcompensate with gifts.
Oh,
And the reason we overcompensate with gifts is because we're underdeveloped when it comes to grace.
yes.
So we'll overcompensate. We'll do things. You know what I'm saying? You've ever heard somebody say they rather they rather take me out to dinner than apologize. They rather buy me a pair of shoes than say I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of the biggest things, like in order for us to make sure, we got to be honest. Because if we can't be honest with ourselves, we're never going to be able to be honest with our spouse. We won't be able to be honest with our kids. Say what it is, because guess what? I need you to be honest with me. So now I know, when I do such and such and such, that's why you respond the way you do. Because, okay, now I know. And I'm going to do the best I can to work on not doing that, because it might not be a big deal to me. So that's another thing too. And I know we got to move. It may not be a big deal to me, but it's a big deal to you.
Yeah.
So I got a responsibility to try and make sure, because that means so much to you. Paul said, if meat offend my brother, I won't eat meat.
Wow. Yeah. Talk about it.
So I'm not, no, I can do it. No. I always say, you can't do what you want to do all the time.
Right.
You got to be respectful of the environment. You got to be respectful of the environment. So, as it pertains to a spouse or your kids or something, if it's no, I'm going to have these conversations with them because I need to know. There's certain conversations I can have with some that I know I can't have with others. Different responses. So I can go all in. Some is like a whole, you know what I'm saying? Some want the truth. Tell me the truth. Tell me what you know what I'm saying? So you got to know. You got to know, sis.
I was trying to get to our page because I was going to try to see if people had any questions or whatever, but I can't get to it from
Let
my
me see.
phone.
Let me see if I can get there while you doing what you doing. Let me
But
see.
while we wrapping up, the last thing that, of course, you know, that I want to end with, because, sometimes people may say, well, it's just not that easy. What do you do daily to help you navigate overcoming childhood trauma, helping you when it comes to relationships? And one thing I've thought about two things that really are instrumental in helping me understand true love and
Mm-hmm.
dismantle learned behaviors. And the first thing I do is I pray. Like, I'm always praying, like, because I want the Lord to reveal to me those hidden things, those things that need to be uprooted, because I don't want to walk around thinking that I'm completely healed of certain things, or that I don't have anything that I need to overcome. So I'm always saying, Lord, to reveal to me
Come on
some of
now.
those things where I need to grow in, and then that leads me to accountability.
Come on
Then I
now.
have to take accountability.
Huh?
And I have to take ownership of that
You got
thing.
to.
And then I have to then do the steps to walk in the true healing or whatever needs to take place so that thing can be fully uprooted. But it doesn't happen when we don't seek God and say, Lord, I just need your help in this matter of constantly revealing things to me so I can really, really be everything you've called me to be. Because I don't want any hindrances, nothing. So, but bro, what would you say would is something that you do to help you really truly stay the course with walking in true forgiveness, stay the course of being a healed person through and through? What is something that you have to do on the daily to help with that? Wow. Yeah.
I talk. I think even at first, you know my wife at first, but we used to have conversations and stuff, and she would just be like, sometimes like this, like she couldn't understand why, because I'm a person, I like to know every angle. I like to know what you think, and I'm like a what if person, and this that. If I don't agree, I'm gonna tell you I don't agree. Okay, and help me to understand why. Why you think this way. That's because I like to talk about things. Because I'm a person, I want to know why a person thinks the way they think, feel the way they feel. So we talk about all different types of subjects and everything. And I think she's starting to understand me now. I'm gonna be all over the place. You might well get, because I'm gonna agree. I'm not gonna agree. I'm gonna ask you more questions. I'm gonna tell you I don't understand. And so, but I'm the same way even at work. And when it comes to my coworkers, we'll have conversations, and it opens up conversations for healing to take place,
Yeah.
because sometimes healing is taking place without me telling you that healing is taking place.
Wow.
I'm having these conversations because it's allowing me to process some things that have happened, some things that I've been through. And so people don't understand sometimes when you're having these you got to talk about it. And it's not that you got to come out and say, this has happened to me. And no, you're having these conversations. So I might see a video or something. Hey, talk to one of my coworkers. Hey, what you think about this? Hey, what you think about that? I said something. What you think about this? Getting the kids' perspective. What you think about it? Trying to understand. What is your take on this? How would you handle this? Was this now? This is what I think. So they laugh at me. Oh, here you go, here you go. You want to know? Am I talking to Rod, Dr. King, or Pastor King? Which one am I talking to? That's one of my coworkers. Oh, that's a lie. Which one am I talking? But you're talking about it because it's like, and then you realize the conversation is not just healing for you, but it's also healing for others, because you don't know what other people. So that would really be my thing. I think there's some things, people are worried about sharing because we worry about what people are going to think and what people are going to say. But there's some things that I think, God gives to you. Like, I need you to share this. I need you to talk about this. I need you to, because there's some people who need to hear your story. They need to hear your testimony. They need to hear what you've been through and what you come out of. And if you keep your mouth shut, they'll stay bound.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, because God's using you. Because we'll say, use me, Lord. Right? We say that, use me, Lord. And here it is, God wants to use you, but you'll say, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't telling nobody that. Ain't nobody business. That between me and God. That between me and God. Whatever. But here it is, God's trying to use you. So you got to have those conversations. These conversations here are so healthy for me. They're so empowering and life changing and transforming for me, because it allows me to sit here and say, okay, you're good in this area, but you still need to work on that area. You still, and yeah, you know what I'm saying? In this lesson. So, sis, I would say we got to talk about it.
I love it. And that, communication is huge.
Huge.
It is so huge and something that so many people don't know how to do. They don't know how to effectively communicate, because it's not about trying to prove a point or trying to be right. It's just that effective dialogue of just talking things out. And sometimes it's more about seeing each other's side.
Right. And that's it. Ain't about who's right. It's not about who's wrong. Because you know what I found out? Most times, ain't nobody wrong.
Right, right.
Other persons just want to be right. You just
Yeah,
want to be right. Ain't nobody wrong. You can,
your
both sides can
perspective,
be
your
right.
perspective,
Yeah,
right?
it's your perspective. But you just want to be right. And you want the other person. So it's like, I know I've been like that. I know hey, we it's some stuff that we can sit back and we can laugh about now, like, man, we be tripping. But as you get older, you understand, man, they ain't even nothing to
Yes,
waste your time with.
yes. Look, this conversation tonight has been so rich,
So rich.
so rich. Like, I'm so full just from just the conversation and talking about it.
Talking about it.
Communicating about it. Look, for those of you who are listening or will be listening later, the question is it love or is it learned behavior? And it's okay for you to be at a place where it's learned behavior, because once you know where you stand, then guess what? You can correct it
You
and
can
you
correct it.
grow from it. And that is what we're all about. We're all about growing. Look, it's been a great night from the
Great night.
growth. We are so excited about season 2. Share this with other people.
Telling you, y'all better.
All about relationships, because we are all about growing and advancing. So why do we want to do that? So we can truly live out the plan and purpose that God has for each and every one of our lives.
Yep.
So
That's that part. That part.
yes. So until next Tuesday at 7 p.m., God bless you. Love you from the gutter to growth. Be
From the
blessed.
gut of the growth family. Love you.
Bye
Peace.
bye.